SpaceX 2026 IPO currently talk of the town. And the most telling fact at the moment is all of the commentary occurring on X. Elon Musk has not touched with a 420,000 foot pole. There's a reason for this. The wheels are obviously turning. Behind the scenes, things are happening. Lots of ideas have been floated. Here's how it could work. Here's how it should work. Reverse merger. Separate IPO. We saw an idea from Bill Ackman being pitched to Musk. No response, no interaction whatsoever. At this point, my personal favorite by far is the idea of reverse merger. The long story short, SpaceX gets folded into Tesla. The end result, Tesla shareholders now own, in the same proportion, shares of SpaceX as they previously held Tesla. The new entity, who cares what it's called, probably still Tesla. Now possibly a $3 trillion-ish valuation, including everything Tesla, everything SpaceX, everything Starlink. Massive. The reason this is so appealing to me personally is because I've always wanted a slice of SpaceX. In fact, I covered this fairly recently. There's an old post I made on a real estate investing forum back in 2015, hypothetical share purchases, in which I said at the time, if I had millions of dollars to invest right now, here's how I'd allocate my capital. I had $500,000 into Tesla and $5 million into SpaceX. At this point, since SpaceX hasn't been a publicly traded company, I've been loading up on Tesla with every spare cent, meaning I don't have cash just sitting around to buy a shitload of SpaceX stock should it IPO. So the best case outcome for me, in order to avoid having to sell any Tesla, which I won't, will be a reverse merger, because end result, I'm going to end up with roughly 50-50 SpaceX to Tesla, having had to do literally nothing. Funnily enough, SpaceX potential IPO came up on the PVD podcast. Let's see what they had to say.
Respect.
So I want to get to this next story. And Efren, I'm coming to you with SpaceX, because I used to work at SpaceX for 8 years. So here's Elon. Musk wants to take SpaceX public to get funding for space data centers for AI. Rob, is this the story with that the Wall Street Journal had? Go ahead and play this clip. Go forward.
I think the case, it's a no-brainer for building solar-powered AI data centers in space. Because as you mentioned, it's also very cold in space. If you're in the shadow, then it's very cold in space, just 3 degrees Kelvin. So you have solar panels facing the sun, and then a radiator that's pointed away from the sun, so it has no sun incidence, and then it's just cooling. It's a very efficient cooling system. So net effect is that the lowest cost place to put AI will be space, and that'll be true within 2 years, maybe three at the latest.
Wow. What do you think about what he said here?
I think the way he explains it, man, it seems like it was so easy to vision and it's logically easy to do, right? His time frames are always short on the shorter side, but you can't put anything across Elon that he can do or will do. And I think what he's saying right now and funding this AI structure in space, I think the SpaceX team will be able to take care of that.
What was the culture like working at SpaceX?
Oh, phenomenal. At least for the teams that I was in, it was always, there was a sense of urgency all the damn time. It was never off.
Tell me how you felt that sense of urgency.
Oh, sorry.
How would it happen from the top down?
So I'll tell you when my time in Starship. So I was one of the 2 leaders in Starship when we were barely doing the Starship built from the ground up. The level, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Elon actually pinned us against Florida, and we had internal competitions of who was going to build Starship first, and successfully. So the level of urgency, he would come to the site and be like, hey, did you guys know that Florida already installed the aft dome, and you guys are still building the barrels? Right, so he's planning that, like, hey, you got to go faster. And for us in the team, it's, okay, how do we go faster and fail fast to get the data that we need to keep moving forward? That's I can't describe the amount of pressure that I had, but that helped me grow more as a leader. With that amount of pressure I had at that build, I don't have it anymore.
Some rather telling comments here. Ex-SpaceX employee, 8 years at the company, describing the insane pressure, the extreme sense of urgency, the internal competition, Musk pitting different teams against one another to push things forward as fast as reasonably possible. Bro leaves SpaceX, admits, I no longer have that sense of urgency, that pressure. And clearly, this is not in a positive sense. Now, admittedly, people can only work under extremely intense conditions and enormous amounts of pressure for so long. Everyone's got a different breaking point. But you can tell from the body language, the tone of voice. This is not somebody saying, I'm so glad to finally be free of all that pressure. I really didn't like it. No, you've got somebody saying, look, I never grew more as a leader than in that time, under that pressure, in those circumstances, in the trenches, working at SpaceX for Musk. at relentless pace under extreme pressure. This is the philosophy for Musk-led companies. If you're not hardcore, get the fuck out of here. No hard feelings, but get the fuck out of here. Hardcore or fuck off. This is how you produce crazy results. Now, to the earlier point, Musk thinking 2 to 3 years from now, the cheapest AI data centers will be in space. Maybe it's a few years longer. But think about this relentless culture. Extreme urgency. Join the dots. The SpaceX IPO and or reverse merger and or who knows how it happens needs to happen ASAP to raise some capital to start building out what some might call Starthink data centers in space, AI in space. This project is not a joke. Much like, I think it was around 2014 when Starlink was first announced. A lot of people laughed. Remember that other internet space thing that failed, you idiot? That's not going to work. Starlink now, one of the most valuable companies on the planet. It's still private, but it is carrying the SpaceX valuation. Starlink is printing money, growing at a ridiculous rate, adding about 25,000 customers per day as I record this. And that rate is increasing at a ridiculous rate. SpaceX has unmatched launch costs, which is going to be a huge advantage in building out AI data centers in space. The biggest cost for anyone who isn't using reusable rockets is going to be launch. So make no mistake, AI data centers in space will happen. And leading the charge will be a bunch of people working under extreme pressure at a relentless pace. We love every minute of it.
Were you ever in meetings with him where he would come down and talk to you guys?
Yes.
Well, give me one of the meetings you guys had.
So one of the meetings is on site. He's the one meeting that I remember the most is how he said, I want to obsolete his own, the Dragon capsule. Like, what company obsoletes their own product, right? And then he also wants to obsolete the plane. Now think about that. You're getting now, if you want to go from here to Dubai, now you get on a Starship rocket. 20 minutes, 18 minutes. The world will change rapidly when that happened. Because if you think about it, back in the day, you were on foot or on horses. Now you have vehicles, now you have planes. The level of networking and I look up to the future. Like, the future looks bright. That is absolutely a true statement. Being in SpaceX, I have nothing but love for everyone there, and shout out to everybody that's in Boca Chica. It's a tough environment to be in, but it is well worth it. You have driven individuals that they don't do it because Elon is pressuring them. And this is the other side of social media that's retarded. Oh, he's forcing the employees to work long hours. No, the employees love being there. Mm-hmm. They're doing that for themselves.
This is another great point. Many people, I think the majority actually, don't seem to understand that the world's best and brightest gigabrains who have an opportunity to change the world, who are given autonomy and responsibility and trusted to make good decisions under these conditions, the best of the best will work their fucking faces off, not because they feel compelled to, because their boss will get mad if they don't, but because they are so incredibly driven to put their skills and abilities to their maximum use. You don't need to motivate hardcore people who are the best at what they do. Their motivation is having the biggest possible impact. Simple as that. Now, back to the earlier point about obsoleting aircraft. He's talking about Starship Earth to Earth. This is going to be a monstrous disruption. When SpaceX has nailed the Starship design, it's fully and rapidly reusable. It's reliable. This is going to be one of the biggest game changers in a century or more for transportation on Earth. Imagine being able to fly anywhere on Earth, point to point, on Starship in under an hour. Particularly for people who really value their time, this is going to be a game changer. And don't get me wrong, the economics is going to be off the fucking charts. Long term, Starship probably has capacity, give or take 1,000 passengers. In the same ballpark as a large aircraft. Fuel costs, comparable. Long term, comparable cost. But would you prefer to spend 14 hours flying from Sydney to Los Angeles or 45 minutes? Since I started this channel, I've been invited to countless events all around the world. Every single time, my response has been, nah, can't be fucked, sorry bro. Not because I'm a dickhead, but because I'm reasonable, and it's not worth it. Just sorry, not sorry. My round trip, international, from where I am currently, best case scenario, flying halfway around the world and back, we're looking at 30, 35, 40 plus hours, all in. Wait times, to and from airport, through security, check-in, the whole kit and caboodle. I'm not kidding. It's just not worth it. But if I could wake up, have a morning coffee, get a weightlifting session in, throw in a backpack, head out to a Starship launch pad, fly halfway around the world, less than an hour, disembark, do my thing, and be home for dinner, I'm all the fuck over it. People seem to have completely forgotten about Starship Earth-to-Earth transportation. I'm not sure why. This is massively going to disrupt the traditional airline industry. I really don't think people understand the impact here. The cost will be comparable. yet the experience 100 times better.
I get it. I love the process. That's, to me, I got lost in the process. I lost time with the family, yeah, but we had a plan. Like, hey, guys, and for a decade, I'm just going to grind. My wife, don't get me wrong, back and forth arguments, right? But we're still here.
5 kids later. Yeah. I love how he said that Elon would come down to the culture, talk to the employees, and say, we need to replace our existing product and be a competitor to ourselves. But what do you think about what he's saying with the AI data centers he's talking about in space?
Well, he's correct. If you can, so every quarter that goes by, the amount of technology that it takes on a weight basis to store, 1 megabyte drops. So the amount of weight that needs to be in the storage systems drops. And the energy you need, if you have solar panels pointing at the sun, and you have all of this storage facility up in space, he's right. It just runs. And what he's talking about the radiator is, on the sun side, it's actually way too hot. But 4 inches away, Pat, on the dark side that never gets sun, it's 3 degrees Kelvin. So the radiator in the middle uses the heat from the solar panels to actually keep the system at a basic temperature, and it runs incredibly efficiently. Elon is right about that. And he's got tremendous launch technology to launch all the stuff up there. Look at Starlink. Starlink is LEO's, low Earth orbit satellites. And he just kept launching them until he had wide coverage all the way around. And that's how he built Starlink. So he has the launch.
All true. And by the way, just wanted to take a moment here to really emphasize the point with Starlink. 10 years ago, it's an idea. A decade later, the whole fucking planet is covered in a swarm of Starlink satellites. The entire surface of the Earth. The physics of data centers in space couldn't be more obvious. You've got 24 hours a day sun, and you can radiate heat away at near absolute zero. It's the perfect setup. We already have an example of SpaceX launching a commercial product that required many thousands of launches of objects, satellites, into space, into orbit, Starlink. The only difference between space-based AI, as I'm currently dubbing it Starthink, and Starlink, is what you're actually launching. We have proof of concept that they can launch many thousands of objects in a relatively short period of time, in a dominant position due to launch costs. This is absolutely inevitable. It's not a question of if this happens, simply a question of how soon and how massive ultimately does it scale. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.